Discovering burnout in remote team members. Video conferencing just isn't the same as being there. It's easier to put on a happy face and pretend to be okay when things are just off. Leaders and managers must be extra vigilant with remote team members to discover burnout and to head off the effects. It's too easy to lose remote people to other opportunities when they feel like they're not effective. So, what is burnout? Well, burnout has classically been defined by exhaustion, cynicism, and lack of efficacy. The efficacy is the most important. Even more critically is how someone perceives their efficacy. If you perceive you're being effective, even when you're not, you're less likely to become burned out. Helping team members set realistic expectations and appropriately view their results as a contributor to the team is critical. So, how do we set those expectations? Leaders have been taught to set lofty goals. We've been taught to inspire those who follow us to change the organization, the industry, or perhaps even the world. Management best practices say that you've got to set stretch goals and ensure that everyone is giving their all. The problem with these lofty visions and stretch goals is that they sometimes pull our expectations of ourselves from the rational moorings and set us adrift into a fantasy land where everything gets done and everyone is happy. When reality hits and it's clear that the lofty goals haven't been met, it's easy to give up hope and believe we're never going to meet them. If you think this might be happening to your team, here are some discoveries that you might make. Discovery 1, disappointment in delivery. The first way you'll see team members at risk for burnout is when they're disappointed they didn't meet an unrealistic deadline. They're down on themselves for not meeting a goal or deadline that no one truly believed they could make. Well, except for them. Discovery 2, lack of grace. If you're a high-performing team, you're going to fail. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The only way to not fail is to not even start to try. If you're willing to change the world, you're going to miss more than you're going to hit. Team members at risk for burnout have little grace for failure in themselves and sometimes little grace for those around them who aren't perfect. Discovery 3, disappointment with success. Those at risk for burnout can be disappointed with a success because the success didn't reach the unrealistic expectations. They discount the success and minimize its value. If you find that your team members might be facing burnout, what do? Well, maybe it's time for a little bit of fireproofing. Fireproofing your team doesn't mean that the fire will never come. It means that the team will be able to survive the fire when it does come. The same is true for burnout. You can fireproof your team to help ensure they don't get burnout, or they get out of it if they're already there. Here are 3 specific tips you can use when you think you're discovering burnout in your team. Fireproofing idea number 1, calibrate expectations. After you've reached a defining moment, it's just as critical to reset expectations to something more reasonable. Keep the aspirational ideas in the future and acknowledge that though the ideal didn't happen, something successful did. Fireproofing idea number 2, recognize the results. Sometimes we move on to the next challenge so quickly that we fail to pause and recognize successes we've just accomplished. Find ways to acknowledge the results without releasing the need to continue onward. Fireproofing idea number 3, make it safe. Too often, leaders forget the fear team members feel when they don't get immediate results. Reassurance that leaders see their progress can prevent burnout. If you see signs of burnout, acting fast to stop them in their tracks can be the difference between a small fire and a complete burnout of the team.